I know.
I got to get out around the corner one more time. Then they gonna shirt me back. I disappear all of a sudden. You know, somebody got an old shirt. I see Shane about every day. I got the privilege. One of the highlights of my day is eating lunch with him most every day. Sometimes we don't cross paths most every day. So it's a little different with him and Sean. But I have more time to try to guide him. So we'll see how he goes while I guide him right. I want to say in this church, I don't never want to say nothing to nobody. Maybe to offend them, or maybe to offend God, or just, I don't want to never spite nobody. And I say a lot of things off the cuff, and I'm like Sean. I have watched that. I'm afraid I'm going to say something sometime, you know, or just sit or sit down. And you really got to watch it. The night they were born, I remember it just like yesterday. When they came out and told us we were going to have twins, we didn't know it when we went to the hospital. We didn't know it when the first one was born. There wasn't never but one heartbeat. But the night they told us we was going to have twins, I sat back there and I never told anybody. I said, ooh, how we going to have this? I thought one would be enough, you know. But I'll say this in front of the church. It's one of the best things that's ever happened in my life.
I do want to say something about the special. I enjoyed that tremendously. That my favorite version of that song up till today was the $1 Million Quartet, when they did it just on a bootleg version. And I thought, you know, there's not the $1 Million Quartet was Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, and Johnny Cash. They just happened to be in the recording studio that day. Somebody turned the tape recorder on. They started recording. That was one of the songs they did. And I thought there's probably not one of those men as they got older that wouldn't have loved to have been in a church singing that song for all that they had done in their life. That was as good. They would have loved to have been right there where y'all were at singing that song, and I enjoyed it. So I wanted to say that. I thought y'all were more like probably, you know, $28 quartet, but you know, but God blesses us different, you know. And so I did not know Sean was speaking till I think I texted him Friday. And I said, because I asked Jake. Jake said, hey, I was going to speak this evening. He said, can you move up to the morning? I said, sure. Who else is speaking in the morning? And he said, your brother. I said, well, okay. That's fine. So I texted Sean. I said, look, I want to make sure we're not talking about the same thing. And funny enough, I'm talking about cannibalism all the time. But, and we got talking today about who's going to go first. And he said, well, I'll go first. I said, hey, hallelujah. You know, that's a miracle right there. That'll give me longer to sit over here and get nervous, I guess. And so I got to think about one other time that Sean, we were at ABAC together. And he had taken an art class the semester before me. So then I signed up for it. I'll never forget that professor's name, Miss Hatcher, Donna Hatcher. And that's rare for me because me and my professors didn't meet that often. They were always in class and I wasn't. And so we didn't meet that. And so I remember her name. And she was going down the road, and you can always tell as a twin there's certain unique situations that come up. And college was one of them. They'd be going down the road and they'd say, Brandon, Shane, Rhodes, and you go here. And if we were in the class together, then it'd be Brendan, Sean, and you see them, they kind of look, they go, oh, we got a misprint. We're like, no, we're twins. Our parents, you know, didn't know we were coming. They named us like this, real close together. It's just how it is. And so well, in that class, we were not in it together. He had taken it the semester before. And so she's going down the road. I'm sitting back there minding my business, and you know, I not really want to get involved. And she gets to my name. She goes, I see her kind of look funny. She goes, Brandon Shane Rhodes. And I said, yes, ma'am, I'm here. And she said, can you come see me after class? I said, oh, here we go, right out the jump, you know. So after class, I go up there and I said, hey, yeah. She said, do you have a brother? I said, yes, ma'am, I got a twin brother. And she said, well, last semester I had him, and he completely ruined the class. And he said she gave extra. She said, I give extra credit on the art test, and he completely ruined my grading system. His average for that semester was 127, and so it messed up her whole curve. And so she looked at me. She said, "Are you as smart as him?" I said, "That idiot." And she told me, she said, "Well, if you just come and got caused no problems, I'll give you an A." I said, "How about that? Good for you." And I said, I promise you I will not cause any problems. But I sit over there in that corner, so it's a different view out here. So there's a lot less folks looking from that side. It's like a Primitive Baptist church looking this way. They and so I always discuss with my wife what's more nervous, to get up here and sing or to get up here and talk. Well, I can't sing. It's just not one of the things I'm going to do. And so we'll discuss it, and she likes to sing, and she'll talk about how it's nervous to get up there and do that. But the argument always hinges to me on Mel Tillis. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Because Mel Tillis, they asked him one time, they said, Mel, Mel stutters bad during interviews. And they said, Mel, how come you don't stutter when you sing? He said, well, I ain't nervous when I sing. So it's obvious talking is the hardest thing to do up here. Mel Tillis would agree with me. When you got to get up here and talk, that's when it's most nervous. But I want to talk about God, my Father. And it was a change kind of in the Bible. To me, I always labeled Jesus' best miracle question mark. Because how are you going to compare miracles? But the Old Testament, God was viewed by the Jewish nation, who was the people that had God at the time. He was a God on high, a God that founded there. He was their country's God. You had a personal relationship with him, but they were even scared to say his name. He was a distant God, and one that would help them when they called on him, and they called on him a lot. But it was never that close relationship that Jesus brought later. And I always call it. I've got some bird dogs, and I call it the bird dog relationship. It's that dog and shock collar relationship, where I stand there and I'll put that shock collar, I'll let them out, and them dogs go, and I strap that shock collar on them, and got my little control, and off they go. And man, when they first take off, I'm sure it was like God and the Jews back in the day. He said, man, look at them go. He said, man, they're doing wonderful. He said, then you look and go, wait a minute, they ain't coming back. And then you look and you think, well, hey! The dog don't look and he's still going. You're like, golly. And that's fine when you remember you got that little remote right there. You turn that thing up, you hit that dog, and brother, he comes back. And it was a lot like God does with us. He'll let you run. But if you don't listen, he'll get your attention. And that was very much, my early Christian life was very much an Old Testament style relationship. I was going to go do what I did, and we were going. And then God would have to rein me in. He would have to get my attention and bring me back to Him. And once I got them bird dogs, I realized that was God hitting that shot collar. He'd try to beep it a little bit and get my attention. If I wouldn't pay attention, he'd turn it up and he'd get my attention. But then I had kids and got married, and that changes how you view everything in life. And it changes your view of what a father is. Because when you're growing up and you're a child, you've got your father. The father is always seen as a disciplinarian, the one that reins you in, the one that's, and it's easy to get caught up, even as a father, it's easy to get caught up in that role, that you're just there to lay down the law and to correct things. And it's always your belt that comes off. You're the one that's going to fix it. And it's easy to get caught up in that. But that is not the relationship. As I got older and had children, I realized that's not the relationship God wants with us. That was that Old Testament relationship. And with Him sending His Son here, Jesus, the Jewish nation, wouldn't even refer to God by name. It was forbidden to say His name. They would come up with other words to address Him. And Jesus got here, and He said, He called Him Abba, which was Father. Just like I would call my father, like I'd call Daddy over there, Daddy. That's what Jesus said. And He didn't say, that's just my Father. Y'all don't get to say this. He said, this is our Father. The Lord's Prayer starts, our Father who art in heaven. That's how he starts it. Not the greatest Lord of everything. We bow down before you. You're supposed to have reverence. That's not what I'm saying. But it starts as a personal relationship, as a chance to really talk with God, to really talk with your Father. And that was not what God was on this earth until Jesus came here to tell us that, to show us that. And that's what Matthew 19:14 is one of my favorite verses in the Bible. And it's got it right here. It is Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Well, I always ponder that. And you can take so many things from that verse. And one of the things is how a child loves you. How they, when they're small and innocent, how they really care about you, and their bias and all. They don't know you're messing up when you are, and that's special. And God don't mess up, so we don't have that with Him, but we do with each other. And so we were riding in the truck one day, and as little boys do, I got two boys, and they were much younger than they are now. And I don't know how the conversation even got to this, but it was what would kill you quicker, a headshot or a heart shot. That was the conversation going down the highway. And there was Jude up in the front with me, and of course Jude, he very much. He said, "Knox, a headshot, that's your brain. You're dead right then. There's nothing else." And then there's my sweet little Knox back there. He says, "No, Jude, a heart shot." And Jude said, "Knox, that's your brain is where you think. It controls everything." And Knox, bless his heart, I'll never forget this. And it was just to prove his brother wrong. So I don't know how good his intentions were. But Knox said, "If you get shot in the heart, that's where you keep Jesus. And when He comes out, you'll be dead." And I thought that's a heck of a way to win the argument. Also, what a sweet way to think of Jesus and your relationship with God. And for some reason, that every time I think about that, I think about that verse and how the little children look at God and how we should too. How our relationship would be. And as I prayed, earlier I'd pray and start Lord, or it was never. And then as I had kids, all of a sudden I noticed myself my prayers would start with Father, and it was just a more because I needed help. I had Jenna and Jude and Knox, and I needed help. It had to be God couldn't sit on high anymore. God had to come see me and tell me what had going on. And so it turned into much more Father, and that's when I just. Things changed a little bit. Tim Keller has a great quote about our relationship with God. He wrote, "The only person who dares to wake up a king at 3 a.m. for a glass of water is a child." And I think about how many times I might wake up in the middle of the night and something's heavy on my heart, and I will start a prayer and just talk to God over there. And that's me waking up the king for a glass of water. Just something. Just a child wanting to talk to his father. And that glass of water in the middle of the night always helps. It's amazing how much better sleep is after that. After just a simple little thing. And it was Jesus that done that. Like the Old Testament. I'll be real honest with you. If the Old Testament relationship was still that way with God, I don't know if any of us would be sitting here. That wasn't a fun relationship. Just our man up on high, not personal, not like the relationships we have with each other. And that sounds like some kind of other God that I wouldn't want any part of. And so the fact that Jesus came down, and that's what got the Jews in trouble, is that was the way they viewed it. And God sent Jesus to say, "No, this is not how I want to love y'all. I do not want to love y'all just in show. Like I want to talk with you, to walk with you and to share your burdens and to just help you every day. Not just when you bring me my sacrifice, not just when you remember me on the one holy day. I want to walk with you every day." And I, you know, who knows God's thinking, but I know he was sitting there and he said, you know, this is enough of this. Like, I'm sending my son to show the world the relationship I want to have with him. And that got me. I was at a funeral a couple of years ago, and the father had several sons, and he was an older gentleman, had lived a good life. It was not a tragic thing. Like, it was a good long life, lived well, and I noticed, you know, two of the boys were fine. Like, they were fine. When one boy was really upset. And look, people handle grief differently. It wasn't a judgment on any of it. But I thought, I wonder, and a few days later, I happened to bump into the son that was really upset. And I didn't ask him because it's none of my business. But we were just talking. And I was telling him I was sorry about his father. The funeral was a good service. He was a good man. I miss having him around. And you could tell it was still bothering him, and he was still thinking about things. And he told me, he said, I was disappointed in how my relationship ended with my father. And it was not a big tragic thing. It was just not, and that's what he said. He said, me and my father didn't have a big falling out. We didn't have a big tragedy where we didn't speak. I just didn't go to him day to day with the stuff I should have. He said, like, I did not let him, he said, I disappointed at times, and I let that get in the way of what could have been our relationship. And I think, how many times do we do that with our Father in heaven? Like, we do something, and we're so disappointed in that the fact that we let him down, and then we use that to keep just spacing it out. And then, I can't go to him. Look what I've done to him. Look at the disappointment I brought him. I'm not going to. I can't go to him and ask for something. I can't go to him and ask him to help me now after the way I've acted. And I thought at that funeral, that's all, bless his heart, that's all that man could think about, was that how he had disappointed his father. And I know the man and the boy, that father loved him unquestionably. And I thought, man, how often do I do that in my walk with God? And I've always remembered that since then, to try to not let my mistakes and my faults get in the way of what a blessing God could be, and what a blessing this relationship could be. That's J.I. Packer wrote a quote to me that really sums up a lot of the New Testament. He said, "To those who are Christ, the Holy God is a loving Father. They belong to His family. They may approach Him without fear and always be sure of His fatherly concern and care. This is the heart of the New Testament." So, thank you all.